Hola, mis amores. How is your spirit today? How are you feeling? Let's do our vibe check. Let's take a deep breath into our hearts, and slowly exhale. Feel into your spirit and see what's present for you. Take this time to check in with yourself about what's present, what's coming up for you. And let me know in the comments below what came up. Describe it with a word or a phrase or an emoji moment for us. If we are meeting for the first time, my name is Janori Pouncil. I am the spiritual guide and mentor to intuitive leaders that are being the most authentic version of themselves, trusting their inner voice, prioritizing themselves, overflowing with inner peace, and enjoying their lives every step of the way. And today, I'm your mentor, I'm your guide. Excuse me. And I'm so glad that you're here. We're going to be talking about how to process emotions. This is actually the day after Thanksgiving that I'm recording this. Yesterday, I was scheduled to do a video and I decided not to. I decided to take that time to rest and to be with my guys, my husband and my son, and have friends over because that's the energy we amplifying in here. We amplifying the energy of taking space for our joy, for our calm, for our peace, and we're not letting the idea of perfectionism guide us and push us to doing things that aren't in alignment. So if you enjoy that time with your family, if you take that time with your family, however you feel about the holidays, up to you. I just love to spend time with my people and be grateful for them, and that includes you too. So whatever it is your experience around this time of the year, it's my greatest desire that you enjoyed it, that you gave yourself space to do whatever felt good to you, and that you had a great time. Also, y'all, sidebar, I cooked the whole turkey for the first time this year by myself. So I feel like, don't tell me nothing. Talk to me nice. She's the whole chef. The funny thing is that I can actually cook for real, for real. Okay, so today is episode 15 of this ongoing 45-day series called The Path to Inner Peace. And I feel so different talking to y'all today. I feel like we've been on this journey. Y'all been helping me grow so much. I've learned so much doing this. And I'm excited to be here with you talking about today's topic because we talked about three big emotions in the last episode: anger, pessimism, and resistance. So if you want to learn how to deal with those, go check that video number 14, episode number 14. And now I actually want to get deeper into what we can do to journey our emotions because they're going to show up, y'all. And when we know they're going to show up, we can be prepared. We can be on the energy that helps us move through them with ease and with flow, which is possible. I am proof of that. Who's going to get the most out of this video? This is really for intuitive leaders, intuitive thought leaders, conscious high achievers, people that are used to achieving things quickly and seeing success quickly and are desiring to align themselves with the energy of their inner peace, with the energy of their inner trust, their inner being and their knowing. That's the people are going to get the most out of this, especially those of us that are committed to showing up as the most authentic version of ourselves and doing it with inner peace, being able to lead others with calm, being able to show up to others, prioritizing ourselves. So that's what's going to get the most out of this video because that's who I be and that's what I learned. So that's what I share. I want to talk to those of us that are intuitive leaders. I want to tell you specifically why this video is going to help you because I know you're wondering like, okay, what I'm about to get from this. Listen, here's the thing about why we're talking about this, okay? Before I learned to process my emotions, I used to get dragged by my emotions in uncomfortable situations. Anytime I was in an uncomfortable situation, it would just plague me. Like I remember a time when I went to ask for a raise from it wasn't even like me asking for a raise because I was actually promised that I was going to be given this raise. I went to remind my boss at the time that I wanted to get this coins and I was so uncomfortable. I can even remember standing outside his office, putting my hand on the knob, and my whole body's just like shaking. I'm having this entire thing because I'm like, oh my God, how is this gonna go? Like, I'm freaking out. And can you relate to that energy? Have you had a situation where you were about to go have a conversation that might have felt a little uncomfortable for you, and next thing you know, your whole body's reacting to that? Let me know if you've had that type of situation in the chat, because that's really where I was at. That's the situation that I was in. And I remember how much that used to like really challenge me. And oftentimes I wouldn't even have those conversations because it would be such a discomfort for me that I'll be like, I'm just gonna avoid it. And I already told you, she be on team avoiding when she's in that energy. And then I knew what it was like after. After I got to a place where I learned to process my emotions, I'm now in a place where I don't avoid those conversations. And if I avoid those conversations, I know that I am holding space for myself to have that conversation. It is a complete different energy. And when I'm in uncomfortable situations, which I often am because I lead people, I have an entire company that I'm running. I have clients that I serve who are very powerful leaders that have their own businesses, that are leading other companies, that are changing the world. So, yeah, it can be uncomfortable to sit in these shoes because of what it requires. And I know how important it is to be able to be chilling and be calm when we are in those moments. And that's really what we're doing this video today. And those of us that are leaders, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know that most of us have learned to avoid our emotions, especially those of us that are intuitive. We are in there looking at them now for the first time in a different way because of how much we've learned to avoid these things. And in today's video, it's going to serve you to see a path for you to move through those emotions with a lot of ease and flow and joy and inner peace, which I know you want more of in your life. So let's get into it. Here's what you're going to learn today. I'm going to share with you the number one reason why learning to process my emotions has been a non-negotiable for me as a leader, because our emotions are so powerful and they have such impact. Number two, I'm going to share with you what learning to process my emotions has looked like, because it looks different for everybody. And for me, I want to share what that actually has looked like so you can see the possibilities of what it can look like for you. It doesn't have to be the exact thing. It probably won't be. However, you can get a picture and you can get an image of what's possible. You can be expanded around that. And then I'm going to share with you 3 ways learning to process my emotions has made my life 1,000 times better, because it has. And it's been uncomfortable to do it. And it also has been wonderful. And I want you to see the both sides of this. I want you to see the whole picture, not just the parts that you have been focused on. And then I'm going to give you the bonus for staying with me to the end. I'm actually going to break down for you the best way to process your emotions and do it in a way that cultivates your inner peace and that's grounded in calm and joy and compassion. I want you to know that, like, moving through the emotions, y'all, when we're moving through our emotions, there's a lot going on. And you can do this by yourself. I started doing this some of it myself early in my journey. It can happen and you're going to get results, because I got a lot of results too, moving through it alone. And at the same time, it's a lot more joyful when I'm with others. It's a lot more loving when I'm with others. It's a lot more fun when I'm with others. And when you're moving through the work of the heart, when you're like looking at yourself and you're doing the discomfort of unearthing these things about ourselves, it can feel really like, not the funnest all the time. And when we've been able to bring that energy of fun and joy, it just changes the dynamics, and we are willing to look at ourselves with a more intentional approach more frequently. And that's what I've been able to do in my life. And this is why I'm going to make you an invitation right now. Because if you're currently doing this work, if you're currently allowing yourself to have the space to unearth these feelings and to look at yourself from this angle, it's going to support you to be in community. Like, let's face it. It's going to support you to be with someone that has been through this process, that actually enjoys this process. Because if you don't enjoy this process, it's going to be really challenging to stick to it. And because of that, I want to make you an invitation. I want to invite you to apply for an authenticity audit with me. These are 45-minute conversations where you and I can take a look at what's going on underneath the hood. Let's pull back the curtains of what's happening in your life and get clear about what it's going to take for you to embody this version of yourself that you desire, for you to show up with this level of inner peace that you desire, that you know is available to you. And here's how you know if this is for you. Because this call is not for everybody. This is only for those of you that, number one, know that I'm the mentor for you, that you want to work with me, that you want me to support you in your path. Number two is this is for people that are intuitive leaders. Those of us that are leading companies, those of us that are leading teams, that are leading our own businesses, that are leading organizations, and that are serving other people in that capacity. Because y'all are the ones that are going to get the most out of this. This is also for those of us that are committed to trusting our intuition at a deeper level. You got to be committed to trusting yourself at a deeper level, because that's what I'm going to focus on. That's what's going to serve us the most. And this is also for those of us that are committed to facing our triggers with calm, nourishing our body, prioritizing ourselves. Those are the ones that are going to get the most out of this conversation, and that's what it's for. So if that's you, I want to invite you to book an authenticity audit with me. Apply for one of these conversations. I have 5 for next week that you can grab one of them, and we can have a conversation about what do you have going on? Is there alignment between us? And how can we support you into stepping into the next level version of yourself with ease and joy and with flow? So if that's you, there's a link below this video. Make sure you apply in the link so that we can discuss our alignment and co-create some magic in your life. Okay. I think I talked about this the other day, actually, in one of the videos earlier this series. I remember telling y'all about the time I was in my office crying a whole day because part of having a business is doing outreach, and the coach I was working with at the time was like, you got to do some outreach, girl. Go reach out to some people, talk to them, offer them your services. And it was so triggering for me to do that. It triggered a lot of feelings of rejection. It triggered a lot of feelings of abandonment. It triggered a lot of things from my childhood that I hadn't taken the space to look at, and that was the space to look at it. And when that happened, it really put me in a position where, like, I was just shook because I was shocked at how much I was crying about this. Like, imagine me in my office crying a whole day because I'm being asked to send a message to a stranger. I know that sounds wild. And at the same time, that is what happens with the emotions. That's what the emotions do. That's the type of power they have. They can literally paralyze us from taking action. And I know that because it has happened to me. I know this firsthand. And this is the number one reason, y'all, why processing my emotions is a non-negotiable for me, because I know how powerful they are. I know that they have the power to paralyze me from taking action. If I am not available to what's going on with them, if I'm ignoring them and I'm avoiding them, I know it's possible that I ain't gonna be able to do shit, because this emotion is gonna be that loud and that intense. And I only know that because I've done it. I've done it for years and years, and I've seen it happen over and over again. So I know the vibes. I know the fucking vibes. And this is why this is so important, because you're not here to keep yourself stuck. That's a form of self-sabotage. That's a form of you keeping yourself from stepping to your next level. And sometimes we don't realize that's what's going on. And that's okay. It's fine. Then we know, and we can make different decisions. When you know better, you do better, right? So it's important for me that I am processing my emotions so that I position myself in a place where I can succeed. I can set myself up for joy. I can set myself up for inner peace. I can set myself up to enjoy my life more and more. And that can only happen by being willing to process them. And when we are leaders and we are serving other people, we are constantly experiencing other people's emotions because they're coming into our space, especially if you are unintuitive, because that means that you are cultivating your empath abilities. So that means that people are going to come to you, they're going to connect to you, and you're going to be sucking up all that energy. And it's important that we are able to release that and not take it on as our own, because there are chances that we might do that. We may operate in that energy. So for me, being able to process those emotions helps me be a thriving ground or a fertile ground for serving other people, by not allowing that to take over me and being able to take action, being able to do the thing that lights me up and serves me, which at times I haven't been able to do because I didn't know how to process these emotions. I was in avoidance mode. And this is why I want to tell you what that looks like, right? Because okay, Yanori, so it's important to do it. I get it, girl. I've seen my emotions in action. I know what's possible, right? What does that look like? What does it look like to do that when you're on the path to inner peace? And I'm glad that you have asked this question. When we are on the path to inner peace, processing our emotions is about being less reactive and more responsive. It's about replacing being reactive with being responsive. And when I began this journey, especially when I was in my office crying because of the resistance, we talked about that last episode, crying because of the fear or rejection, the emotions that were bubbling up inside me that I hadn't had the opportunity to address yet, that this was the opportunity to address. Before, when I was in that situation, I was reacting. I was reacting out of my old patterns. That's what I knew to do when I felt scared of being rejected. I would go into paralysis. My flight response was triggered, and then I will go into a state of paralysis. Because y'all know when we go into a state of fight or flight, it's not just fight or flight. It's fight, flight, freeze, food, and fornicate. It's actually 5 of them. And the one that I would engage in is freeze. And because I'm aware of that now, I can move differently. And that's why it's important that I see it, right? Because when you are on the path to inner peace, it's important that you are responding instead of reacting. Reacting is very habitual. It's very based on whatever you got going on, whatever pattern you got going on. And when you go into responding mode, it's about looking at the pattern you got going on, deciding if you want to move in that way, and choosing how you're going to show up. It requires a different level of intention. And it's a lot more joyful because you're showing up as you want to show up versus just acting out of behaviors that you've always been doing, because that's what you've always been doing, which is what I was doing. Hence why I know it happens. And this is why I know this happens to intuitive leaders, because I'm one of them. My entire company is all about trusting ourselves. It's called the Self-Trust Company. It's all about leading with ourselves. It's about letting God speak through us and us being life, the life force that materializes and brings to reality the things that God is encouraging us to do, the things that the God version of us is encouraging us to do, the thing that we are actually desiring to do. That's what we are all about. And we're not exempt from this. Every single person that works with me is because they're experiencing this. So when we know as intuitive leaders that this is normal, that this is part of our journey, we can show up to it differently. It really is about responding instead of reacting, and then getting to that place where the patterns, the places where we used to react, we start to respond so much that responding becomes our new habit. You hear what I'm saying? You picking up what I'm putting down? And that's what this looks like. That's what is required. That's what it takes to do this. And it's uncomfortable to do this because we want to react. I want to react all the time. Many times I do. That's the thing that happens. And then I go and I see that this doesn't serve me, and that's why I choose to respond. Like in those moments where I was reacting out of paralysis, that wasn't serving me. So I had to choose to respond. I had to choose to show up to that differently. And now I'm in a place in my life where I don't respond to rejection like that at all. It's just not the way I move anymore, because I've allowed myself space to process those emotions so they don't have the same impact on me that they used to have, which is what I want for you, that you are experiencing life in a different way because you're different. It's not that other people are different and out there is different. It's that you are different. You know how you're going to show up. So you're not pressed. Now, here are the 3 ways that learning to process my emotions has made my life 1,000 times better. And I already alluded to some of this. The first thing it has done to help me make my life better, it has been bringing light into my heart. I was the type of person that I was holding grudges left and right. Holding grudges left and right because I felt that I needed to hold that so that I would protect myself from people and whatever they may do to my heart. So my way of protecting was to harden my heart, to have a really cold heart so that nobody can come in so nobody can hurt me. And those were all emotions that were repressed from different points in my life, childhood, teenage years, college years, because the body keeps a score. So I was so hardened by these things. And what I have done is I'm able to be lighter. I've given myself space to release that. And not that my heart is lighter, y'all. Not that my heart is lighter, my life is lighter. All those grudges that were weighing me down, I've been willing to let them go. I am willing to accept people where they are, and I'm willing to open myself up to other people, knowing that that's enough. Knowing that sharing my story is enough. This videos here I'm doing right now is a sentiment to that, because this is enough. I'm telling you my story. I'm simply sharing with you what I've done. And so many of you have already messaged me, talk about how much this helped you. I see your comments talking about how much this is serving you. All I'm doing is telling you my story. The old version of myself wouldn't have done that, because she was so hardened. She would have been blocked off. She wouldn't trust you because she didn't trust herself. And that's why I know this is so powerful, because that's going on. I'm able to be gentler with my child. When my son is crying, as children do, because that's how they express themselves, I'm able to have space for my child. I'm able to have space for myself as I'm experiencing that, because having a baby crying and yelling at you is not the vibes. It doesn't feel good. I'm able to be in that coexistence and do it with peace and enjoy it and find joy in it, have fun in it, which the old version of myself, she wasn't prepared for that. And she knew that. She knew that, and she knew that. Another way that my life has been much better is I'm able to take action a lot faster on the things that I desire. If I want to reach out to someone, I'm able to reach out to that person and offer what I'm serving a lot quicker. I'm able to do that without getting caught up in my head about it, because I know it's not about me. I'm not afraid of the rejection, at least not the way I used to be. And because of that, I'm able to move things along in my business. Like last year, my business did $270,000 in sales because I'm not afraid to talk to people anymore. That's what's possible at a financial level. And financial is not even the way I want to focus on these things, because yes, my life has improved financially. It really has been my heart, though. It has been my life, like my ability to be kinder to my husband and not take things he says personally. It has been being able to meet my friends where they are and not make it like I gotta be the perfect friend to deserve love. It has allowed me to just live a more joyful life. It has just been such a more joyful life to live this way. I just feel better. It just feels a lot better to be here. I don't feel like I gotta be in the future as much. I don't feel like I gotta be avoiding my past, pretending it didn't exist. I feel this sense of wholeness and groundedness. And I feel like no matter what happens, everything is gonna be all right, because everything is unfolding for my highest good and that of humanity. And that's something so fucking new for me. And I love it at the same time, because it helps those moments that feel so uncomfortable and challenging feel better, feel okay, feel beautiful, feel grounding. And that's not the way I learned to see the world. And I know that as you're moving through these things, you can experience this. You can experience shifting your perspective on these things. You can experience shifting how you see your life, because being a leader is a responsibility. It does require courage. It does require that you're willing to take risks. It does require that you're willing to show up differently. That's what makes us leaders in the first place. And when you are leading from your intuitive nature, when you are leading from the voice of God within, these things are non-negotiable. Because when we are leading from our intuitive beingness, some of our decisions can seem very misunderstood to people. They can seem very erratic. They can seem very crazy. They can seem very unhinged. People won't get it because God is not in the business of explanation. So we got to be willing to see ourselves and to not let ourselves get caught up, because we are also having this human experience. And as we're having this human experience, shit happens. And we're going to respond and show up to it in the way we have learned. And what is that way for you? How have you learned to show up to those moments? How have you learned to show up in your life? Are you showing up? Have you learned to show up in a way that's reactive? Or have you learned to show up in a way that's responsive? Are you at peace with how you're showing up? Is the way that you're showing up bringing you joy? These are the things that we want to ask ourselves. And if you aren't asking yourself this type of questions, this is why I want to make you an invitation. Because I know what's possible for you. I've been doing this for 13 years. I've seen people's lives transform. When God put me in the business of transformation, of changing lives, at first I was like, God, I don't know what you're doing. This is not for me. I'm not the healer girl. I am the person that likes to twerk, that likes to cuss, that likes to be wild. This is not what I learned healing to look like. And God said, but this is what I have for you. This is your path. This is what you're here to do. And when I allow myself to surrender to that voice, my life changed. The life of the people I lead changed. The way I show up to the world changed. And this happens best when we are with others. There is such beauty in going at this together. And we're able to see ourselves differently because we are in connection with others in a certain way. People that can hold space for us, people that can be gentle with us, people that can meet us where we are. Things move differently for us. And if you are an intuitive leader who is committed to showing up more joyfully and more powerfully in your life, I want to invite you to work with me one-on-one. I want to invite you to have me by your side to support you, because I know how powerful you are. And I know how quickly you can turn things in your life when you have the right tools in place. It don't take a long time for you. And if what you are desiring is to experience a deeper level of joy and peace in your life, that's possible when you have the right tools in place. And that's what I'm gifted at, because that's the life that I live. Below this video, there is a link to apply for an authenticity audit to work with me, so that you are able to look at yourself differently and ask these questions that perhaps you aren't asking, that can actually help you experience the life that you desire. Inner peace and inner joy is not something that only a few people get to have because of a certain tax bracket or a certain place, or it's something that we can tap into. It's called inner peace for a reason, inner joy for a reason. And I know that you can have more of that if that's what you desire. So we're going to do 45 minutes. We're going to talk. We're going to see where you are. We're going to get clear on what are the things that are impacting your inner peace the most. And we're going to map out the way to get to where you desire to be in 30 to 90 days with the most level of joy, ease, and flow possible, because we can have that. So if you are desiring to really trust your intuition at a deeper level, if you are committed to facing your triggers with ease and with flow, if you are all about nourishing your body with compassion and discipline, if you are all about releasing borrowed beliefs that are no longer serving you, and building loving, powerful, kind relationships with people in your life and complete strangers, then this call is going to be for you. It's going to be so transformational. And together we're going to co-create some magic in those 45 minutes, because that's what I do, baby. That's what I'm the best in the world at. So I want to invite you to apply for one of those calls if you're serious about showing up as the most authentic version of yourself, if you're serious about prioritizing yourself, if you're serious about trusting your inner voice, if you're serious about overflowing with inner peace, if you're serious about enjoying your life every step of the way, then I want you to apply for one of these authenticity audits, because it's going to be transformational, my love. There are 5 of them that are available right now for next week, and you can have one of them. So let's click on that link, apply for the call, and let's explore our alignment so that we can co-create magic in your life. Okay, you ready for this bonus? Let me get a sunflower if you made it this far with me. I love sunflowers. They're just such a beautiful manifestation of light and vibrancy. And isn't that what we are underneath all of this? Let me get some water while y'all do that. All right. Bonus. The best way to process your emotions and to do it to align with the path of inner peace and to stay there. Here is what I do. All right. Here's what I teach my clients. So pull up your journal right now because I'm about to give it to you straightforward. There are 4 things to process our emotions. Number 1, you want to acknowledge them. We can't heal what we don't reveal. So the first thing we need to do is acknowledge our emotions. What's present for us? This is why we do that in these videos as soon as we start, so that you can get in the habit. You can build that habit of doing that. Acknowledge how you're feeling. Don't lie to yourself. Be honest. It's uncomfortable, I know. Be honest. Acknowledged. The second thing you want to do is accept them. Because once you acknowledge them, you can choose to reject them. You can choose to pretend they don't exist. It's something that we do. I do that. Sometimes I acknowledge emotions and I'm like, I don't look in that direction. I've acknowledged it, but I have an attitude about them being here. So the second thing we want to do is accept them. Because the easiest way to change situations is by accepting that they are part of our reality. Once we acknowledge that they're there, we got to accept what they're there. And accepting means seeing all the parts, seeing our parts in it, seeing how we are contributing to the situation, seeing what is within our control. That's what acceptance means, okay? And that's going to be a powerful piece of this process because it's going to help you see yourself differently. It's going to help you see how you're acting versus how you think you're acting so you can decide how you desire to act. So we first acknowledge, we then accept. And the third thing is to align with learning, align with the lessons. Every single thing that happens in our lives, every emotion that comes through is a teacher. And I didn't think this before. I would have never said that before. Having been through this for 13 years, though, I'm telling you right now, everything is a teacher. And when we learn from these emotions, what we are learning is how we respond to them, how we show up to them. Are we responding or are we reacting? Are we showing up powerfully or are we shrinking? Are we allowing the emotions to control us or are we choosing how we're going to show up to them with intention? You see what I'm saying? Ooh, it just changes the game. So you want to align yourself with the lessons. And this is the power of most people. They don't want to do this part. They do not want to align themselves with the lessons because how are you going to align to something that you're not allowing yourself to acknowledge? And how are you going to learn from something that you are rejecting that is present in your reality? This is why aligning ourselves with the lessons are so important. This is why learning from the things that are showing up for us are so important. And then once you learn, you allow them to pass. So many of us hold on to those emotions for much longer than they need to be. I used to do that. My hand is up right now because I used to do that. Holding grudges, keeping things in a list, policing how people are showing up and acting and pulling my receipts on them at every chance I got. That used to be how I moved. That's not joyful. At least it wasn't for me. What we are able to do though is allow emotions to pass because they're not here to stay forever. We keep them alive with our awareness. We keep emotions alive with the attention we give them. We keep emotions alive with the way we treat those emotions. Let them pass. They ain't here forever. Let them go. And that's how we do it. Number 1, we accept them. No. Number 1, we acknowledge them. Number 2, we accept that they are present and we accept our part. Number 3, we align ourselves with the lessons that they're here to teach us. And number 4, we allow them to pass. Easy peasy. And this thing is, I'm saying easy peasy, it is a challenge for a lot of us because we aren't holding the space. We have so many things going on that we are distracted. So I'm aware that many people are going to be stretched by this. And if you are one of those people that's being stretched by this process and you desire to have my mentorship, you are one of the people that need to be applying for one of these sessions, babes. I want to see your application come through in my inbox because you're going to get a lot from that conversation. You are the person that's going to benefit the most because this is going to serve you. Going through this process is simple. It isn't always easy for people though. And it's not because it's not an easy process to journey, it's because of everything else they got going on. And that's what I'm the best at, helping you see that, helping you see things clearly. I say it to you every video, helping you see things clearly so you can shift your reality and align it with the person that you desire to be more and more daily, and doing it with inner peace while prioritizing yourself, because that's what we're here for. That's what this is all about. So in the next video, y'all, this has been so amazing. I'm so grateful that we are doing this together. I cannot believe that, we have like a few weeks left. So in the next video, I'm gonna actually start a new week. We're gonna start the week. The theme is gonna be called Life After Awareness, and we're gonna talk about, do you let the universe take control? Because we've gotten aware about a lot of things so far on our path to inner peace. And once you become aware, you got to look at life after awareness. Most people stay at this point. They're like, well, I got the awareness. I'm good. There's on the other side of this. There are things on the other side of awareness that help us in our journey and that really make the journey a lot more fun. So we're going to get into that. We're going to get into what that is so that you can see what's possible for you after being aware of all these pieces that go into your inner peace. For those of you that are submitting your applications to work with me for those authenticity audits, there are 5 of them that I have for this upcoming week, and I'm looking forward to y'all applying, especially if you are someone that's currently stretched and is desiring to up-level your ability to acknowledge your emotions, to accept your emotions, to align yourself with the lessons they teach you, and to allow them to pass. If you are desiring to elevate any of those areas, you're going to want to book one of these calls, and I'm looking forward to seeing your applications come in, because we're going to have a whole vibe. My name is Yanori Pouncil. Listen to me. My name is Yanori Pouncil. I am the guiding light and spiritual teacher to intuitive leaders that are being the most authentic version of themselves, prioritizing themselves, trusting their inner voice, overflowing with inner peace, and enjoying their lives every step of the way. And I'm here to make sure that you see things clearly. Thank you for joining me today. Remember that you are a vibe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Hasta luego, mis amores.